Hi everyone, this is Dami here again. Today I want to do a video on how to mix your low end. Especially we're looking at hip hop in this example here. So how to mix your kick and how to mix your bass as well, and how to make those two really work together. Alright, just join me in the door and let's take a deep dive. Alright, so here we are. I'll play the bass and the kick drum bypassed, but we're gonna start working on the bass first. This is with it everything dry. Okay, that's it, and then I'm going to bring the processing in so you can hear the before and then the after. Right, so as you can hear, I would say right out of the gate, right, this was a little bit challenging to mix and to make it to make both the bass and the kick work together, even especially the bass by itself. So here's what we started with. Let's start with the bass. Okay, this is the bass. So here is what I did. So I basically duplicated the bass. Okay, and then the first thing I'm doing here is rolling out the low frequency, cutting out some around 2K right here, deeping, and also shaving the top end. And the reason for that is because I'm going to use like sans amp later. I just want to remove any high frequency before. I could have done that after too. So let's see what this is doing. Push it up. So next plugin here is the decapitator. I'm using, the goal is to get drive and also the upper harmonics out, push it out of the bass. I'm using the pentode style right here, and I'm using the punish mode on decapitator, removing some low end, and then I'm using about let's see, 47%. Let's hear what this is doing. Bypass. All right, so that is very, very nice, what we're using the decapitator for right there. And then sans amp. Yeah, usually most times I'll push it to the amp area right here instead of the pre, because I get more drive and just sweetness out. You know, I love that range. It depends obviously. And then right here I have the 1176 right here, and I'm using a fast attack here and also kind of a fast release. The goal is just to keep everything controlled. Any transient trying to poke through, I'm just trying to keep minimize that basically. And let me hear what this is doing. Yeah, smoothing it out a little bit. So that's that. So this is the duplicate of the original bass. Now this is only controlling the top end. This is how we're able to introduce mid frequencies in that bass so it can poke through. And then the original bass here, let's just hear what we're doing here. All right, so I'm rolling off around 30 hertz. I don't think a lot of things is down there, but just rolling it off to be on the safe side. And also rolling off, let's see this frequency here, low pass filter at 665. And here we did high pass filter at 539. So a little bit crossing over. So I didn't want any of the mid frequency on here. So this channel is going to control just the low end. And here, the classic Poltec, boosting 60 dB, 60 hertz here, around about 4 dB. And I'm using this slightly just to clean up. So it's like, you have the boost. Let me see, to your left. Okay, you have the boost here. And by cutting that, right, I'm shaving off a little bit of the frequency on this side here. All right, and that's that. Let's bypass it and hear what this is doing. Okay, so that's pretty awesome, right? Just a little bit of low end, even though we're boosting a lot, but we can hear the lift in there. This is now some corrective EQ here I'm doing. For some reason, I'm cutting out 32 again, and then finding some frequencies on the bass here that I'm gonna play this because I'm cut deep in around 7K here. Let's see exactly what that is doing. And I should mention too, sometimes in this, though sometimes I'll mix the bass by itself, but then when I begin to play with a kick drum, especially in this case, this was, like I mentioned earlier, I was a little bit challenging, and I'm going to explain why it was a little bit challenging to mix. But before that, let's hear what this is doing here. Yeah, so what I can assume is I'm deeping here because that was the same frequency that I had boosted here, 60. Perhaps it was too much and I was removing. Can't remember exactly, but this could be, it's a corrective measure here. So that could have been after I've mixed the song and then I came back to dip that frequency because of the bass. But here again, this is around 184. Sometimes I do this on bass guitars. And I just don't leave the low end and low mid. Sometimes a lot of things is happening in the low mid of the guitar that's not pleasant. And let's hear this. So that isn't nice. It's not all the way bad, but I want to control that. And you'll see that the next move, what I'm doing is I'm then boosting frequency around that side. If this was completely like horrible, I'll cut it and not worry about boosting stuff. But if I'm trying to create room, because that can make the song muddy too, especially clashing with maybe the vocals going on in there. So just shaping, this is all this is. And then I'm boosting here around to about 300, cutting at 165, boosting. Actually cutting at almost 200, 185, and then boosting at almost 300. Let me bypass this and bring it in. So you can hear when it's bypassed this frequency right here, there's just too much woo going, low mid going in there. Even with this, I can even still dip it some more, right? So let me bypass it again. I want you to kind of pay attention to this particular frequency here. Okay, so that's that. And then a compressor here, using the different settings, right, than I used here. This kind of the regular standard one. Honestly, the goal for using this in this stage is not because I really need to compress, because even looking at the waveform, things are almost like, yeah, there. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Right, it's like it's gone through some type of compression already. It's just a way to control the low end. That's why I would normally use this kind of compressor after I've done a lot of boost. It's just to control the low end to make sure it's not, just keep it in there tucked in. That's the main reason. So playing these two together. When I have something that sounds like a real bass too, right? bypass the plugins. Bring it back in. Right, so I have the bite, have the presence, have the energy, right, coming in from this bass. But that's not all that we did. Usually then I took these two bass, and then we have what you call the bass comp here. And this is why I then bring those two things and then work on them together as one bass sound. So the first thing I'm adding here is Decapitator. As you've heard in the last video, I use Decapitator when I'm trying to make things just sound gritty, just have that edge. I mean, push things forward, give it some life. Bypass. Of course, there's a volume change as well. Ooh, that sounds nice. If you think it's volume, let me push the volume up. And I'm telling you, it's not just a volume thing. See, I've cranked the volume like 3 dB. Bring it down, and then so it's not just a volume thing; it's a drive thing. Saturation. That's what we're doing. And for songs like this, I think we really do need it. Here again, I have 2 compressors or even 3 going back to back here. Yes, not doing much, but doing something. That's all. Sorry, I can't explain, but I like it. It feels good. But this one here, there's a reason why I have this here. Bypass. So why do I use C4 most times? C4 is to control the low end, but in this case is more than just the low end. In this case, I'm using this to create room for the kick drum. I did have sidechain in here. I mean, the bass is moving so much, the sidechain is helping, but this is helping me create room, especially in the low, mid, and this section here for the kick drum to live. And I think this is a good time to talk about the kick drum and then why this was a little bit challenging. This was really challenging to mix, to find the sweet spot in terms of volume and in terms of which instrument, the kick and bass, actually dominates the low end. Because here, when you have the kick drum, I'm going to play the kick drum. Right, so you hear it, the most energy, right? It's in the low end. Boom, boom. It's very interesting kick sound. Which the bass is in that same range as well, to boom, 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 boom. And then another thing is the tail of this right here. It's not pleasant, right? After the initial attack here, you can hear a lot of this tail right here. So that was also another challenge too, which what I did, well, I'm going to show you, at least to tame it slightly, because it has some frequency that I would love to personally go find and just remove. Like right there. Boom, boom. It's too much. I mean, the best way to do it, right? I can just come in here. And let me hear that with the bass actually. See, I'm gonna loop from right here. Let me loop actually maybe here. I wanna hear this. Anyways, so that is that. So So what am I doing on the kick drum? First thing first, I have this EQ here. So I'm basically boosting 120 here. So I'm choosing the frequencies to boost on the bass, on the kick drum. And then I have 3.5 here. I'm also boosting, which is quite a lot, 2.5 with this. And let me bypass it and engage it so you guys can hear what this is doing. Let me solo the bass. I'm gonna bypass. All right, so I hope you can hear that the output was a little bit more than the input, so things sounded a little bit louder. But as you go, without thinking about the EQ or trying to boost some things in there, it's like the kick drum and the bass. They're living in the same space. They're living in the same space, so it's hard to really separate them and mix to make it sound different in the mix. And you have to respect the producer's choice. In this case, I could have maybe look for another sample to give me a lot of the attack that still matches the vibe of the song, but I didn't do that. Just wanted to just stick to the original sound. So let's go over this. Some cleanup here. This is me trying to find that annoying frequency here. So let's go to around 300 here, so you can hear. That's 291. Yeah. And then here at let's see what this is at 921. I'm also cutting about 1.5 dB. That's that nasty frequency. We can solo it to hear it. Not pleasant. So, and then here I'm removing, even though I was trying to boost the attack here. Let's see why I'm removing that. It's around 3K. That sounds good, but I'll have to hear that in the context of the mix. And maybe that's why I'm removing that. All right, so the next thing here is 1176 here. Like I said, this is with the settings here. I'm going crazy. All I'm trying to do is just to get punch out of this kick drum as much as I can. And it's controlling the tail of the kick. Bringing it up though. Yeah, you can hear the attack, right? Coming in with the bass. Let's hear. Now we're getting there, right? So this is night and day, right? With this plugin on the kick drum. Without it, we're not hearing anything. But with it on, without it, right? No punch, nothing. It's like there's a lot of masking going on and no definition in the low end. But with it being activated, boom, all of a sudden we can hear the punch. You can hear that, and that's not a volume thing, so don't get deceived by thinking maybe it's louder. I was looking at the meter too right here. And then the last plugin here to control some of that sustain on the kick, and I'm gonna just solo the kick by itself, and let's hear this. Like I mentioned earlier, right? I told you about this I could go in, I could go in and remove it manually and adjust the length of it. That could have worked, but that's going to take a lot of time. So what I'm using is the smack attack to reduce the sustain of each of those kick notes. So that is helping me get rid of that tail, that nasty frequency. So I'm going to play so you can hear it one more time again. Right, it's 9th there, right? Boom, you hear the swell, and the compressor's pushing that up as well too. So that's how. And let's bypass the kick drum from where we started and where we're at. We lost a little bit of volume too. I can push this up slightly. Okay. And then last but not the least, what I'm doing here is I'm sending a signal from here to the bass. So this is going to help us to sidechain. So let's hear what this is doing. So I want you to look at this mute right here, and this is how I'm going to engage and disengage the send. So the sidechain is doing a lot, helping us to clean it up in there. And I remember mentioning this right here. I'm going to bypass the C4, and I want you to hear exactly the relationship between the kick and bass. Even with the sidechain on, we're done with that. Let me play that. So hopefully you can hear that. This is no sidechain. I'm not using sidechain on the C4, but the C4, like I said, usually I'm only trying to use it for the low end, but here I'm trying to control the mid on that bass. We created artificial one, but I'm still trying to control it because the frequency, just the mid and the low mid as well too. Let me play that again, and then that should be the end of the video, but I want you to listen well. Especially right here. Let me loop this section particularly here. You cannot just hear this weird stuff going on, like they're fighting. This is what we mean by when things are fighting each other. Right, that's it. So see, they're both playing these two at the same time right here. Hey, who is going to take control here? Bass said no. Kick drum says no. Then what we're gonna do? They left the answer for you, the engineer, to figure it out. Because the producer didn't care. It's like, no, the engineer will figure it out. How to make these two things work together. Again, let's just bypass this plugins, and then so you can have a feel of the song. That's the thing. Sorry I didn't play the song, because you should play the song, because that's what matters the most. I went to In the Weeds just showing you all of these things in solo. But yeah, let's play the song and bypass the plugins. You know, I'll bypass the kick drum, what we did on there, hear what it feels like, and then I'll bypass the bass as well.
Not, but I have it, that undeniable thing that makes you feel you can bag it.
We can start from here.
Okay now. Yeah.
Muhammad Ali with the four corners. Niggas getting boxed and they resort to the corners. Nigga, I get boxed and I throw a hook like the chorus. Never catch me slipping, see the truth is what they missing. See, giddy up, get on that high horse, then stick 'em up. The hustle's mandatory to get you out of ordinary. Let me take you to the genesis. Insecurities, those judging me, what's the nemesis? So the only way to counter it was be counterfeit. Boosting for designer fits, begging for designer clothes. Daddy ain't affording those. I wanted a chain, needed a watch, needed a fame. Too much to gain, I needed it all, let me explain. Growing up we didn't have much, do rag and a hairbrush. On my way to school, surrounded by niggas who had such. But Bim got ambition, took out loans for tuition. Just to school you niggas, this hustle is like tradition. Need it, go, we was low. Wanted more, get it, so we learned to take two and make it four. Hold up, we learned to take two and make it four. Need it, go, we was low. Wanted more, get it, so we learned to take two and make it four. Hold up, we learned to take two and make it four.
Hey, I have not, but I have it. That undeniable thing that makes you feel you can bag it. When you've had to work for everything you see past average, so you cannot settle for Columbus. Bitch, I'm causing this ruckus. If you've had to turn that into gold, you gotta love this. Jordan's under the tree, taught my people what love is. I love all my niggas, we don't fool with Uncle Rob.
Alright, so the huge difference you can hear, especially when I bypass the processing on the kick drum. Right, when I do that, there's just chaos, right? No definition, just chaos completely. Just listen again.
To work for everything you see past average, so you cannot settle for Columbus. Bitch, I'm causing this ruckus. If you've had to turn that into gold, you gotta love this. Jordan's under the tree, taught my people what love is. I love all my niggas, we don't fool with Uncle Rob. To work for everything.
Alright, so that's the end of the video. I hope this was really helpful in showing you just the thought process of what you need to think about. There are times you will encounter difficulties like this as a mix engineer, then you have to kind of find a way to make things sound cohesive, make them work together without reinventing the wheel or adding new samples or anything, right? That might not work for the song because the producer hears something new. It's like, oh no, that's not the intention. Or even the artists too, who've been listening to this for a while, they can hear the shift. So I hope this was helpful. This is the way I was able to do this. Some things I had to kind of let go, especially on the bass. The tone changed slightly. We enhanced it, but changed slightly. But we needed to make the song work. But I hope this was really helpful. And then let me know what you think in the comments below. And then if you haven't subscribed, if you haven't liked this video yet, don't know what you're waiting for. You should be running to the subscribe button right now. But anyways, I appreciate your support and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much and have a great